Yep.
All right.
The live stream's going.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, welcome everyone to our regular Police Service Board meeting, today being December 14th, Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. So we can get started. We will start with roll call. Everyone with the exception of Bill Unger is in attendance this evening. Moving on, any disclosure of interest? Okay, seeing none. Confirmation of agenda. Bobby, do you have a
resolution?
Yes, thank you.
That the Aylmer Police Services Board approves the December 14th, 2021 agenda as presented.
Right. And were there any additions, any comments, any concerns with the agenda? Chief, I think you had some additions just to change with the budget information.
Yeah, sorry, just a small change to the budget, and it basically has to do with the increase in certain benefit packages that I was able to get from the town, and that was the only adjustment. Very, very small adjustment to the actual budget for 2022.
Okay. All right. Did you make note of that, Bobby?
Sherry, may I ask the chief a question?
Yeah. Just Bobby, did you get that, the change?
Just that there was a budget increased for certain benefit for the benefit package.
Okay. Yes. Okay. That's great. Yeah. Pete, go ahead.
Chief, there were a couple of line entries that were over budget. EI, I think, was one, association fee, insurances. Were they all adjusted for the 2022 budget to be more in line with the actuals?
Do we want to talk about this in the budget? We're just confirming the agenda at the moment.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So I need a mover, Zach, and seconder, unless somebody had any other questions. No. Okay. All right. And all those in favor? All right. And that is carried. Thank you. And adoption of the minutes from November 9th. Any concerns or questions around that? I'm sorry, Bobby.
Yes, we have a resolution that the Aylmer Police Services Board adopts the November 9th, 2021 minutes as written.
Okay. Any questions or concerns on the minutes as presented?
Nope.
Okay, seeing none, if I get someone to move that, please. Pete, seconder, Zach, all those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Moving on, delegations, there are none. So we can move into unfinished business. First item being Police Services Board policies, nothing at this time. And now we can move on to the police budget proposed for 2022. And did you want me to share my screen on these? I guess it makes sense, doesn't it? Like that. Thank you. Maybe just let me know when you can see my screen.
It's up there now.
Okay. Okay. So this is the document. Oh, sorry. Can someone let? I think we have someone waiting in the lobby in the meeting. Can anyone else let Deputy Chief know it's in?
Hi, good evening. I think I'm here.
Okay, great. Thank you. My computer just hasn't got caught up. Sorry about that.
No
problem. Okay. All right. So the first item, police budget proposed 2022. So I'm not sure if Chief, if you want to walk us through this, or Or did you want to wait just until we got down into the, no, I think it makes sense probably to do it here. I can't see anyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Keith, can you hear me okay? He must be having some issues. I'll just wait for him
Yes,
to catch up.
Through you, hear you.
Yep. Did you want to go through the police budget, the proposed, and which would be items B, C, D, and E? Is this where you'd like to go through those?
Yeah, through Madam Chair, I certainly can. We did discuss this last month, and it was boards to take a month to review any of the items on there. The only minor changes that were made is to the benefit packages, such as the Canada pension full-time. That's gone up slightly. So what I have is a new one. The old figure is 57,106. The new figure is 58,201. So instead of a 30.6% increase, it went up to 33.11% increase. As far as the other itemized budget on there, it pretty much remained the same as what you have in front of you.
Okay. All right.
If you so the only difference that it really makes is the when you look at the tax levy at the bottom, it shows a budget for 2022 of 2.442140.
Okay.
And that's at 0.34% increase. And my figures actually showed 2.44323503, or 1.39% increase.
Okay.
So we're talking about a 0.5% increase.
Okay.
From what was submitted to the board last month.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, we're just going through the unfinished business now. So if we just want to just maybe touch on the points on the agenda. So police budget proposed 2022. We will discuss that further down. PSD budget, same thing. And just highlighted in here are just the discussions that we had in our past meeting is what you're suggesting, and that nothing has changed with the exception of what you just spoke about.
That's correct.
Okay. And E or D, sorry, is budget proposed capital summary, which we'll talk about. And I'm the budget proposed capital reserves 2022. We'll also discuss further down. Was there any questions or concerns on this?
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Madam Chair, to the chief, some of the line entries of expenditures that are uncontrollable, such as insurance, association fees, items of those nature, were overspent in 2021. Have you made adjustments to the budget for 2022 to more reflect the actual costs?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. So I'm probably the one that's causing confusion here. So our unfinished business, do you have resolution for that, Bobby? If you're talking, okay.
Sorry, through you, Madam Chair. Just a resolution to approve the budget?
No, just for the unfinished business, items A through E.
I'm sorry, that includes the budget information.
Okay, all right. So, okay.
Do you require further information on the budget, or did you want to pass that now as it was with that
Well,
minor change?
So I was just going through just the agenda as printed. That's all. So I just wanted just to. I don't think that we had the right information in front of us when we were discussing it. So yeah, that's all. So here is the information. Sorry, everyone. If there's further questions, please speak now. I guess you can ask the chief. Sorry about that. So did you want to highlight anything? I mean, there's highlighted points here. Everyone has had an opportunity to go through, but is there any questions? Any? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, if you through itemized list there, but I mean, virtually it's the same as what was presented last month.
Mhm.
But he has a specific question on any of the line item, I can certainly speak to that, or I can go through the entire budget again if you'd like that.
So I'll let Jack ask his question first, and that might give some clarity as well.
Yeah. Well, I have actually a couple of comments. Number one, I don't see a reason to go through the budget any more detail now that we looked at it last week and had a chance to look at it all week. Comment on the force on the police service in general. I'm just looking at the fact that the London police have 900 plus as a contingent for 350,000 people, which is approximately 2.7 officers per 1,000. And if you look at Aylmer with the 7,500, we have about 2.1 contingent per 1,000 people. So we do very well compared to a large city like London. So just wanted to make that comment.
Agreed. Thank you. All right. Any other questions or concerns on the information that is at hand? Okay. All right. So do you have a resolution for the unfinished business? And are we passing the we're passing the budget at this point? Correct? Bobby?
Through you, Madam Chair, that the Aylmer Police Services Board adopts the 2022 budget as presented on December 14th, 2021, and further that the documents be forwarded to Town Council.
Okay. And I can't see anyone, so could I have a mover for that, please?
Also move, Jack.
All right.
Pete will second it.
All right. Thank you. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. And that is carried. Thank you. Okay.
Wonderful.
All right. Thank you. All right. So we can move on to new business. Seeing none, we can move into reports. So Chief, I will let you take that away.
Okay, through Madam Chair, I'll take you to the current budget year to date for police. Salaries and wages, we're at 79% spent with 1 month to go. So everything is in order there. There's no significant pressure that are identified in the for the year end. And I'm anticipating a surplus anywhere between $120,000 and $180,000 this year in our budget. Could be more, but certainly conservatively speaking, we're looking at about 120 to 180 surplus, which will be carried into the reserves for next year in our police operating budget. Currently, we're at out of the $2.384 million budget, we're at 1.911 or 80%. and that also includes the budget on the Police Services Board side as well. So well within what our projected was for 2021, and as I indicated, in fact, we'll be in a surplus by the year end. Any questions on any items within the budget itself? There are some that are significantly higher. Obviously, we've talked about that. Training was one of them, and that pertained specifically to one officer that was part of our grant, and everything else is within reason and within the projected. Any questions on the?
No.
Again, same thing on the police services budget. We're at 88% spent with a month to go. I don't foresee any issues coming within the budget, and again, overall, we're in pretty good shape for the year end. Unless anybody has any questions, I'll move on to the Police Service Board reports specific to crime. Okay, crime prevention. November, 1 Crime Stoppers tip for 9 for the year. DVI high risk meetings. I attended 1 in November for a total of 8 for the year. Community events, we had 1 for a total of 13. Community patrol officers logged in 33.5 hours of foot patrol. Total for the year is 426.5. Which again is higher than what we've had last year, so good work being done there. Bike patrols are shut down for now until spring again. We've done very well with the bike patrols this year, 38 hours for a total. Focus patrol, 1 focus patrol was initiated in November, and that had to do with the high school and some of the issues that we're running into over there. And that focus patrol continues on a daily basis, where officers are tasked to ensure that prior to lunchtime and after school, there is police presence in that area to deter any criminal activities or other activities that are nuisance in nature, kind of thing. So I can certainly, and I will certainly, once the focus patrol is finished, I'll ensure that the board is aware of the hours that have been dedicated to those patrols, and also some of the charges and some of the actions that the officers took to curb some of the activities there at the school. Criminal. 5 adults for the month of November have been charged. We dealt with 4 youths that have been charged. In total this year, we had 94 adults who have been charged and 9 youth. Drug investigations, again, we had 1 that, again, was related to cannabis readily available. A total of 16, and all 16 resulted in charges. Reports 911 calls and response issues. We had 21 calls for assist the OPP, public, and ambulance. We had 15 hang-ups, 911 hang-ups. Total for the year is 186. In comparison to last year, 130. So that continues to be a problem for us. We've done all kinds of media messaging related to that, and people are just not taking the proper steps in order to ensure that the cell phones are locked out so they don't do a pocket dial 911. Violent crime rates, we had 1 incident only. Crimes against persons, total for the year is 61. 53 have been solved for a percentage of 70.5 that have been cleared. In comparison to last year, we had 45 incidents, 27 were solved, and 60% clearance rate. So our clearance rate this year has improved by at least 10% so far. Nothing to report with respect to the major critical management and SOR reports, as well as VICLAS reports. They're all taken care of and managed by Erica and Nick. No issues there. Social media posts. We had 16 posts this year, or this past month, a total of 56,000 views, 84 for the year with 384,000 views. Again, social media has been a really good tool for us to showcase some of our work, and certainly any comments that are made by the public obviously is a good indicator of where we're at. Clearance rates for property crime, 2 have been cleared for 22.2% rate. Again, looking at total for the year, 116 incidents, 32 have been cleared for a percentage of 27.6%. Again, that's 11% higher than what we did last year, so some good work being done there by the officers. School visits, we had 2 calls in the month of November. Total for the year is 8 and 2 visits. Diversion program for the youth. 4 youth have been charged and 2 have been warned in the month of November with incidents that we dealt with there. We did have 3 calls, trouble with youth, for a total of 24. But the actual trouble with youth calls have been reduced significantly over last year, where we had 44. So 20 call reduction from 2020 to 2021, which I guess is a good news story. Situation hub meetings. We had 4 meetings in November. We did have 1 situation presented, and that person has been linked to the resources that are available in the community. And hopefully that gets them in the right path so they can get some help. Unsolved follow-up calls, we had 91. Total for the year is 716. Again, some of the good work being done there, officer follow-ups. Provincial offenses and speeding in the month of November, 94 traffic charges, 10 other charges. A total for the year is 1,186 traffic charges, 20 liquor license act charges, and 225 other charges. Again, that's well above what we had last year, and I believe this year was the first year that we actually are into the thousands. So a lot of good work is being done by the officers. In total, 21 criminal code charges were laid as well by the officers in the month of November, which again is a significant workload that they're dedicating to, and a lot of good work being done. Ride checks, we had 12 ride checks, 2,145 vehicle stops, 17 warnings, and for a total for the year, we're at 130 with 10,000 vehicle stops. That's that is double to what we've had last year in terms of stops. Of note on there as well, we had 70 roadside tests completed and no suspensions. So I think the message is getting out there that it's not a good idea to drink and drive in Aylmer. And that certainly is verified by the number of tests that the officers actually did, and the fact that we had 0 suspensions. Impaired driving, regular patrols. We did have 5 impaired drivers in the month of November, a total of 23 for the year in comparison to last year when we had 28. And again, prisoners processed, we had 4 males, 1 female, 4 youth, 1 was held for court, and 8 were released. So no issues there. We continue on with the training. Every officer has now completed their in-service training, which is a requirement to ensure that they continue to be active. We also had officers attend 2 seminars for a total of 144 hours. A total for the year, 13 in-service training, 10 courses, 5 seminars, and 1,022 hours in training completed by the officers. 1 member completed their fitness tests for a total of 3. EAP promotions, we had 1 that was submitted to the officers for their awareness. Again, with respect to the budget, 80% spent. comparison to last year when we were 82%. So no concerns there whatsoever. And again, lots of good work being done by all 4 platoons in terms of criminal code investigations and traffic charges. Court officer from the administrative side, he laid 3 breach charges. Deputy Chief Novicic was training in Aurelia. The grant applications have been reviewed by myself and Nick and submitted for officers to complete that are attached to the grant processes. And we will be applying for locally funded grant. It also provincial grants. The locally funded, I think we were allotted $26,000 for 2022. And for the provincial grant, there's no guarantee that we will get the money. So once the grant application is completed, we'll review it, we'll submit it into the province, and hopefully they'll meet what we've had last year, which was $100,000. The ride schedule has been completed. I've been doing some ride checks, and there's been no issues with respect to that particular grant. And questions on the report with respect to the statistics?
Madam Chair, if I may,
Yeah.
Just a couple of comments and some questions, I guess, relating to the focus patrols and school calls and that kind of thing. I just wanted to say as a comment to start with that I'm just terribly disappointed with the Thames Valley District School Board pulling the police presence in the schools. This kind of thing is just a sorry thing to see, because I can remember as a secondary principal that I would invite the police to come into the school, and we would do a walkabout at least a couple of times a week. And the walkabout would mean that we would walk every hallway and every floor and the outside and everything else. And it really made a difference, I think, in terms of the tone that the students had for the police. I mean, they got to see that the police were real people, that they were there and could be relied upon and that kind of thing. So it's really terrible that Thames Valley District School Board has done that. So I guess my question kind of is, have we ever had a school presence at the same level that the Thames Valley District School Board is talking about? I don't know that we've had. And has the school ever asked officers to come and do a walkabout, during different times of the day, different times of the week? I'll leave those 2 questions.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. Last year we had a pretty active officer attached to the school liaison program, and that actually was part of our grant funding to have a high school liaison officer and value influences and peers program attached to that grant. Obviously, with the current status on the high school liaison officer, we have not done any proactive initiatives within the school itself, other than calls for service that are generated as a result of obviously something going on that people have a concern with, be it criminal in nature or provincial in nature, such as trespassing, loitering, and those kind of things. Mm-hmm. So those are things that we've dealt with, and hence the reason that we created a focused patrol specifically in that area for those times that we capture under that focused patrol, to be able to say, here's the amount of hours that the officers have spent dealing with certain issues as a result of things that are happening in and around the school.
Okay. Okay. I didn't realize that we had a liaison presence there for a long period of time, that officers were there, and I still think it's a good idea just to have a kind of walkabout and not responding to anything in particular that's a crime, but just to have a police presence there for the students. I came across this just today. I don't know if you can see that. It says K9 Patrol. And when and maybe Sherry can remember, but when I was principal, we brought the dogs in quite often. We can't do that today, but I still think we should have you know, the chance to do some kind of walk around with the police. And I'm glad that you've set up the focus patrols for meeting the needs that happen at lunchtime and breaks and that kind of thing.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, we're hoping that once the review is done with the school officials, that, based on some of the recommendations and reviews and input from various sources within our community, that we can come to some terms in terms of getting the officers back in on a proactive basis versus having to react to some of these issues that are occurring.
Precisely. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay, we can move on. Sorry?
Yep, moving the charts, just to kind of give you a real good look of where we're at 4-year averages. Violent crime rates, we're at 51, so we're likely going to be on target with 2018 and 2019. 2020, obviously, we only had 47 violent incidents reported. And obviously, we exceeded that this year, and we'll continue to monitor that and respond to those issues. The nice thing about that is that majority of those are actually solved because the person that actually commits the crime is generally identified and is known to the victim. Property crime, again, low numbers for this year. We only had 116 calls for service related to property. That's significantly lower than 2019 and 2020 and more in line with 2018. So good stuff there. Drug incidents, nothing of significance there. We're at 16 and going to be on target with pretty much every other year that we've identified. Domestic disputes, 41 for the year. Obviously, that's exceeding last year's numbers of 29. But certainly, we're not going to be hitting 2019, more on par with 2018 year when it comes to the DVIs. Motor vehicle collisions, no issues whatsoever there. We had a high of 174 in 2018, and they've been reducing ever since. So that's good news. Less collisions we have, less injuries and those kind of things. So that's a good news story there. 9/11 calls, we're likely going to be on par with 2019 when we had 200, and obviously exceeding by a large margin 2018 and 2020 year. And again, moving into 2022, we'll continue on with our proactive messaging and trying to get that reduced in 2022. Foot patrol hours, good work being done there by the officers. Certainly, we're well over 400, which is good. Visibility in the community is a good thing, and officers engaging with the public while they're walking certainly pays dividends in terms of reduction in crime and those kind of things. Mental health calls for service. This year we exceeded all previous years. Again, we do have a mental health worker that accompanies the officers. She's doing a great job in follow-up calls. And I mean, it's been one of those years. I think pretty much every police service has seen an increase in mental health calls for service because of COVID and some of the other community issues within the social environments. And I don't foresee that trending down anytime soon. It is one of those social problems that unfortunately police do have to respond to and try to help the victims who are suffering from mental illness. But certainly having the mental health caseworker on board with us is certainly going to help. And that is one of the areas that we have identified moving into 2022 to expand that mental health awareness and dedication of officers to it. And that will be part of our local priorities grant application as well. So I think it's needed. I think we do have a good structure in place for it, and we'll just continue to expand on it moving into 2022. Any questions on any of those charts? Hearing none, for the month of November, my activities, situation table, teleconferences, I've been involved in 4. On 1st of November, I met with MPP Karen Vecchio, and then OPC visit on the 4th of November, PSB meeting on the 9th, Remembrance Day Parade, Nick and I attended that on the 11th, and then Santa Claus Parade on the 27th with the mayor. And just to say, that was a real positive for the community. I think, you know, the mayor and I, we led the parade, and lots of positive from the community. I didn't see anything or heard anything negative about any of the issues that have been happening. So that was one of the good things, I guess, for the community to sort of try to get into some normalcy after a whole bunch of things that happened last year and the previous year. Budget-wise, again, I talked about that. We're operating at 12% of what projections were, or under that, so no issues there. When it comes to community service programs, the officer has secured 3 elementary schools for VIP program delivery. We just had some new booklets that were printed, and they'll be starting that in January. Proactive patrols, I already talked about that at the high school. We're in the preparatory stages right now. Actually, the officers are engaged in writing the grants for local and provincial priority needs. Constable Fisher, I spoke to the college administrators, and we have agreed to extend him for another year beyond next year. I mean, that's a plus for both sides. Number one, the officer does get the opportunity to engage in that delivery of classroom instructions based on his experience to all the recruits, so they benefit from that. And also, it's a full cost recovery for us, so it doesn't cost us anything. So it's a win-win for everybody. As far as the other direct operating expenses, no issues there. 191 last year, 167 this year spent. So no concerns there. And that's my report, Madam Chair.
Great. Any questions on any of the reports?
I have a question, Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Chief, the officers are trained to deal with criminal behavior. This year, we seem to have abundance of civil disability, where some of the people within the community are pushing back against the police service that is there to protect them and work with them. How are the officers supported in their role in that rock and hard place situation?
Yeah, when you're talking about the civil disobedience, what exactly are we referring to? Sorry.
Well, in matters of gatherings of numbers of people, where the officers' well-being could be compromised. How are the officers supported after the fact to get over that event?
Well, obviously, we do have a pretty strong EAP program available to the officers. As far as the protection from the health perspective, our recommendation, and obviously every officer does understand the personal protective equipment that's issued to them to ensure that they wear it. And honestly, since the reopening, our incidents with respect to COVID-19 issues have reduced significantly. We are going now through some of the trials pertaining to some of the activities that did occur back in 2020 and into 2021 earlier. But for the most part, our calls for service related to those types of incidents have been significantly reduced since the reopening.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No. Okay, I just like to comment that the trends and comparisons look great compared to past years, and great work by the service and the leadership there. So thank you for that. No other questions? Bobby, do you have a resolution, please?
That the Aylmer Police Services Board adopts report items A to F of the December 14th, 2021 agenda.
All right, can I get a mover for that, please? Bill, seconder, Jack, all in favor? Thank you, and that's carried. All right, so moving on, there is no incoming correspondence this month. And there is no closed session as well. So our next meeting date is January 11th in 2022. So next item is adjournment. Bobby, do you have a resolution, please?
That the Aylmer Police Services Board does now adjourn at 6:11 p.m.
I have mover Jack, seconder Pete, all in favor? Great. Thank you. That's carried. Everybody have a great night. And hard to believe that it's 2021 is coming to a close. Oh my goodness, it's crazy. So I hope everyone enjoys their holidays and has a nice time off if you're getting any time off. So,
Chief, would you pass along the board's best wishes to all of the members of the service for their work during the past year, and all the best in 2022?
Yes, sir, I'll do that for sure. And thank you for your support throughout the year. And certainly, I think if you look at some of the work that's been done and some of the challenges that we've had and had forward in order to implement some of the changes that were required in order to better the service for the Aylmer community, I really appreciate and certainly all of your dedication and all of your cooperation and given myself and Nick throughout the year, and certainly forward to working with the board next year. And I think it's going to be another good year for us. And hopefully the pandemic will be behind us and we can move on and doing some of the things that we've done in the past with respect to some of the services there. So thank you very much, and everybody have a great holiday, and we'll see you in the new year.
you too. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.